Good morning, Composition 1 people. This is our first lecture, and I will start out by briefly introducing myself. My name is Jeremy Sullivan. Actually, Jeremy Lawrence Sullivan is what it says on my door. Today I'm in my office, broadcasting from my computer. Sometimes I'll be recording from home and sometimes here. Coronavirus permitting, this is where you would be able to join me for office hours. This is room 436 in the English department, the Humanities building, the Inmunde W7, for those of you who are freshmen and haven't been here yet. The numbers are pretty consistently low, so there may be a point where people are on campus again this semester, but our plan is to do all of these lectures online. I'm going to record all of them because that just makes it easier. We'll do some Zoom meetings as supplementary, sort of extra information sessions, but for now we're just going to go right through the semester recording the lectures until I see you at the exam in person. So, my name is Jeremy Sullivan. I am Canadian and I've lived in Daejeon for over 10 years. We are doing writing in this class, and that is the reason why I became an English major in the first place, is because I was interested in being a writer. It turned out that I also enjoy teaching, and I do writing on the side, but mostly not creatively. And that is going to be the main thing in this class as well, is I will allow you to do some creative stuff, but most of the things that are graded are supposed to be argumentative. We are trying to teach you how to write essays eventually. This class is sort of a building block for that. So that's why I ended up being an English professor, is because I was interested in being a writer in the first place. A lot of students don't really enjoy writing, and that's probably because you're being tested and you're being told what to write and how to write, and that's not as fun as writing on your own. I do have to teach you some structure, and I have to teach you how to build a good argument. So that is the purpose of this class. We'll try to make it as interesting as possible, so that you can get, not just the skills, but also learn how to enjoy the writing process as well. There is some truth to the saying, no pain, no gain, when it comes to writing, because the process can seem very tedious and difficult at times, and usually you don't really feel good about your writing until it's done. You get that feeling of satisfaction, just like when you do anything difficult and then you get the final product and you see what you've created, and when you get that A+, it is a good feeling. It's a good feeling to get that paper back and to have the professor say excellent writing, or this is really well done, or it's some sort of complimentary note along with a good grade. So that's what you're shooting for, and I'm going to try and teach you as best as I can how to get that solid backbone of English literature going. Some of you are from different majors. Not everybody is an English literature major, so we won't really be doing literary essays. We'll be doing various topics, where you can build an argument for or against. We're not going to be reading books and then criticizing or analyzing text. It's basically going to be discussion topics, and then you take those discussion topics and then you write a paper about it. I call them response papers because that's what my professors used to call them. They're really compact, short arguments where you give your opinion and then you support your opinion with facts and evidence and research. And that's basically it's kind of a mini essay without the introduction, body, and conclusion. So that's what this class is going to be about. And to help us move along with some organization, I've chosen this textbook. This is the one that I'll take a picture of and put on the website for you to see. This is the textbook for Composition 1. We have two sections. We have a Monday class and a Friday class, which splits the two sections, puts them pretty far apart. But what I would like to do is keep the lectures in sync, because it is essentially the same class. So I'm not going to record the lecture twice. So even though last Monday was a holiday, I'm going to go ahead and share this lecture for the Monday section as well. So even though you got the holiday and you didn't have to log in, I'm going to extend the first week's lecture watching period. So make sure that if you're in the Monday section, next week you watch 2 lectures. So today, the Friday section, you're going to, I assume, log in and watch this lecture. And then the Monday class, you'll just have to catch up and watch an extra one next week. So you watch the introduction and week 2 as well. And then both classes will be at the same point, and we'll just proceed from there. I have a website of my own. So we have sort of 3 platforms running at the same time. I will put everything through the Cyber Campus, and then there will be a link to my website, and then from the website it goes to the YouTube video. So I have a YouTube channel, and if you want to keep up to date to any of the things that are on YouTube, you can subscribe to it, and it'll give you notifications instantly as soon as I upload it on YouTube, because sometimes I put the lectures up on YouTube first, and then the link will come to the website, appear on the website later. So if you want to get ahead of it, that's fine. But just remember, you need to log in through the Cyber Campus, and you need to spend at least 60 minutes logged in continuously. So even though the lecture will probably be something like 30 minutes, and there will be some written content or links to articles from the website, you need to stay logged in through the Cyber Campus, even if you finish in 45 minutes. If you've watched the video and you've read, the notices about the assignments and the article that I've linked, or looked at whatever, image that I've shared, and you're done in 45 minutes or 50 minutes, just remember, you need to let the clock keep going until 60 minutes has passed, because that is what the administration requires. You have to be logged in for 60 minutes. We are normally in class for 2 hours, so you need to spend at least 60 minutes a week absorbing the content, right, that I'm posting. So some of it is this video lecture, some of it is reading, and some of it may be just looking at, like I said, images or videos or links to other things that are related to the class. Of course, there will be stuff in the textbook that you have to do. One of the things about this textbook that I like, and the reason that I chose it, is because the reason that I choose it every semester for Composition 1 is because there's a lot of activities in it. So the homework that is assigned, a lot of it will be from the textbook. So you certainly need to buy a new textbook. You can't use somebody's textbook from last year who has written all the answers in, because it does have a lot of questions that you have to answer yourself. If they're already done, then you're not doing your homework. Okay, so each chapter has, some explanation, and then it has some activities. And so we'll be following the book chapter by chapter and doing the activities in each chapter. I'll be skipping things too, but we will certainly be doing many of the things that they ask you to do in the book. So make sure you get the book as soon as possible. There is no homework next week, but the following week there will be. So you have a week and a half to get the book. So get on the internet and order your book so that it can be delivered on time and you can be ready to do your homework. What else can I say? Let's go through the syllabus stuff as well. So the students are always wondering at the beginning how the evaluation is going to work, and I'll explain that next as soon as I find my syllabus here. Okay, so the thing about composition, I think, is my professors in most of my English classes, they never gave us a midterm, or rarely. I had a few midterms, but the midterms that I had, they were all, long answer essay questions. So I remember doing a midterm and it was just one question, and my answer was 10 pages long. It's kind of unique torture that we don't do in Korea, as far as I know. I've never heard of anybody having to do that, but that's what I did in one of my midterms, and I don't think that's very helpful in Composition 1. So actually, we are not going to have a midterm. Instead, I'm going to ask you to write papers and assignments instead. So you get 10% for attending the class, for logging in and spending your 60 minutes every week in the cyber campus. There are 2 response papers and a number of homework assignments and a single assignment worth 10%. So that, let me talk about the homework first. Regularly, we're going to have homework which is from the textbook, and that is not going to be graded. Just like your attendance, you either do it, you're either here or you're not. You either do the homework or you don't. So 20% of your grade is just going to be, have you done your homework or not? Have you prepared for class? Did you hand in the questions that I asked you to do in the textbook? If you do, all of them, you can get 100%, right? The response papers, which we will do 2, and the assignment, which there is 1, they're worth 10% each, and they will be graded. You will get an A+, a B, a C-, or whatever the evaluation, whatever evaluation you get, and I will give you feedback about why you got that grade. An A+ is not 100%. This sometimes creates some confusion with my students because in Korea sometimes when you do well on something, you get 100%. I never got 100% on anything in any of my English classes in my life. So that's my basis for my grading scale. Is if you do an exceptional job, you get a 95% basically. That's an A+. So it doesn't matter though, because in our system, in our grading system, there are no numbers. So at the end of the semester, the maximum you can get is an A+. There's no score on your transcript. In Canada, on my transcript, it would say A+, and then it would say 93 beside it. There's a number as well, but we don't do that. So you don't have to worry about the numbers. You just have to worry about the letters. So in this class, I do give percentages in the speaking stream, in the conversation class, but in composition, I don't. So you will only get letter grades. There will be no numbers in this class at all. So you will just get A's and B's and C's, hopefully more A's and B's. So when you do those the graded assignments, the 2 response papers and the assignment, I will give you a grade on them, and then you can look at the reasons why and hopefully improve yourself from assignment to assignment. The homework is supposed to basically be skill-based, so you do things that will help you improve on your papers. The final exam is worth 30. So you don't have to worry about the midterm. This is particularly good because right now we have the coronavirus issue. So You don't have to come in here to write a midterm. We don't have to do the midterm online. We're just not going to do one. Lots of courses for the last year have actually canceled their midterms because you can't come in and write them. I do an online midterm in the other classes, but in this one there never was one, so I didn't have to cancel it. So don't worry about that. There is no midterm. Instead, 2 papers. They're fairly short. I'm only asking you to do a couple pages, and another writing assignment, which is more of like a creative writing assignment, because we got to do something creative just to keep you all interested and stimulated in about writing, right? I don't want everybody to be falling asleep every week when they try and watch this lecture. So I'm going to do my best to keep this class interesting and to keep you interested in the material and your own progress, okay? Now, I usually do a little bit of explaining about key points that you need to think about when you're writing. So last semester I taught Composition 2, and one of the students said, well, I was hoping to learn how to write essays in this class. And you have to learn how to write essays step by step. And if you can't write a thesis and you don't know how to support an argument, and you don't know how to logically organize your writing, then it's not very useful to just be taught the form of an essay without the ability to write anything cohesive. So this is what my high school teacher told us when we were learning how to write essays when I was in high school years and years ago. She said there are 3 C's of writing. You want to be clear, coherent, and concise. Okay? I always teach this. I don't only teach this in Composition 1. I remind my students in Composition 2 and 3 as they progress, and in Composition 3 they write complete essays. It's a progression, it's a development, and that's why we have 3 levels. So we're at the basic level. What we want to do here is write good paragraphs. At the end of the class, I don't want broken sentences, separated. I want nice chunks of text that are organized, that have a main point followed by a logical arrangement of supporting points. And most students don't do that until they go through these classes. That's why we have them. So this is how you do it, right? Clear is the starting point, really. You need a statement, right? At the beginning of a paragraph, at the beginning of any work that you hand in, you need to make a statement that somebody can understand easily, okay? That needs to contain an argument and a position, right? So that everything that follows can be connected to that main statement. Think of it like this. Anybody who's actually going to read something that you write, now we're not writing novels here. This is not Harry Potter or something. The purpose of your writing here is to communicate your ideas effectively. And anybody who's going to read an essay, anybody who's going to read an article, they're going to look for information. And they're not going to be reading your essay for entertainment. They're going to be reading it to get information. And they want to be efficient. They don't want to read more when they can read less. Nobody wants to do that. That's the concise part. But in the first place, what they want to see is at the beginning of your writing, they want to know what is coming. They need to be able to predict what's in the rest of the essay. If you write a statement at the beginning that's clear, they're like, oh, this is what I want to know. I'm going to read the rest of it. Or this is not the topic I'm interested in. It clearly, if you write that clearly at the beginning, then the reader will know to continue or not, right? So you need to have that clear statement right at the beginning. Professors like it too. I have to keep reading. I have no choice. But I want to know where you're going with the information. And if you have that clear statement at the beginning, that's the start. That's the starting point, right? So that's what we're going to work on. And you continue to keep your, using your phrasing, using your vocabulary and your grammar and everything else. You put together sentences that are clearly written so that I can understand, so you can communicate and express yourself through your writing, right? We'll do concise next because that's what I just mentioned. Everybody wants, you to write less rather than more. So the basic rule is don't repeat yourself. So if you're writing something and you're saying the same thing again, it can be removed, right? It doesn't need to be there. If you're saying something in a longer way, when it can be done more directly and more efficiently, that's also an advantage, right? The more information that you can get into the smaller space, the better it is. It's not just for it's not just for your advantage in the number of words that you have to produce. It's sometimes a matter of space. When you put things on the internet and you write pages and pages and pages, people will be less likely to read it. When you get advertising space in newspapers, which we don't really use that much anymore, but sometimes there's a limit to how many words you're allowed to use. Famous platforms like Twitter actually have a limit to how many characters or words that you can put somewhere. So that's a common thing, is you need to learn how to put as much as you can into a smaller space. When you're doing an application, when you're filling out a form or something, sometimes they say 500 words or less. There's many different situations where you need to be concise. You need to keep the number of words that you use to express yourself down, right? So you don't want to be redundant. You don't want to say things that are similar and not necessary. When you write, often when you go back, you find that you ramble a little bit, you go off topic or you repeat yourself. And when you see that, you can take it out. That's what being concise means. I have a great video to share with all of you on the website, which I will do starting next week, about 4 elementary school students who are supposed to write book reports. And when they write the book reports, they each have their own issues to overcome when they're trying to complete their work. And you will see how being clear and concise and the third word fit into that. So you also need to be coherent. And coherent is what I just mentioned. Don't go off topic. If you're being clear and you're being efficient, that's great. But if each sentence and each idea are not connected, they don't logically follow from one to the other, then you lose you lose your reader. They won't understand what you're trying to say. You can't build an argument without coherence. So each part of your paragraph, each paragraph needs to be interconnected. They need to be connected to each other using logic. And if you don't connect those things, you don't use transition words and conjunctions properly, and it doesn't make sense to another person, then your paper is going to be ineffective. So those are the 3 main principles. And those are just guidelines, right? Now the question is how to do that, how to actually do it. Then we have to look closer at, examples and strategies and individual sentences in order to achieve, clarity, coherence, and being concise, right? So that's what we're going to do over the term. It's easy just for me to say those things, just do those things, but doing and saying are quite different things. So keep those 3 words in mind, and as you evaluate your own writing, just think to yourself: am I being clear? Am I being coherent? Am I being concise? When you look at your papers and your assignments, when you hand them in, before you hand them in, have a look and judge the quality of your writing using those 3 principles. Okay. I want to mention too, it's important to write your own material. Plagiarism is a fancy word for cheating. You can't copy other people's writing, whether it's another student or it's Shakespeare or the President of the United States. It doesn't matter who you're lifting words from, who you're copying. You need to, if you do use somebody else's writing, you need to quote it and you need to reference it. So even if you take somebody else's idea and you change the words around, you really should be giving credit to the person who came up with the original idea. So what I want you to do is, I do want you to look up information. I do want you to look at other people's writing and understand it and imitate it. But when you use it in your writing, I want you to put the quotation marks. They look like bunny ears when you do it with your hands. But I want you to put quotation marks around it and then put the name of the person or right after it, the author. And then at the end of the assignment, I want you to write down where it's from. Write the book, write the title, write the author, write the title. I don't really care if it's perfect referencing. We'll talk about that later. I will explain how to quote something using MLA format. But the important thing for now is just that you reference things and you give, attribute the work to the correct person. You recognize that that is something that's an important element of study and academic life. If everybody was copying everyone else, we would never get anywhere. Nobody would do their own work and nobody would develop. So it's very important that everybody challenges themselves and develops themselves through their own work. And when they find other people's, work to be worthy of quotation, of use in their work, that they recognize it and that we have a system of respect for each other's academic achievements, right? Otherwise, science wouldn't progress, writing wouldn't progress, we wouldn't have any sort of, we wouldn't have any sort of integrity in our academic system. So please, it's a very serious thing. If you do get caught copying, then you get automatically, you get 0 on that assignment. And if you do it repeatedly, then you fail the course. If it's done, if there's any sort of cheating involved in a test or an exam, there's a possibility of you being reported to the committee for academic dishonesty from the university. So you don't want to get into that. Just put the effort in, and if you have questions about how to quote, how to paraphrase, whether you think you're breaking the rules or not, then of course, all you have to do is email me. Email me anytime about anything. If you have to miss a class for a legitimate reason, then email me and you can get the documentation from the department. The good thing though is I'm going to leave the cyber lecture open all week. So if you are sick or there's you have a funeral to attend or a family emergency or something like that, you should be able to still do your lecture on a different day, right? I'm going to upload the lecture at the beginning of the week, so you have all week to do it. So don't leave it until Sunday night. That would be irresponsible. If something happens on Sunday and you can't do your lecture, that really is your fault. Nonetheless, if you have a legitimate excuse, then you can document it. If you don't have a legitimate excuse, you can still email me and say, Professor, I was irresponsible and I didn't watch my lecture until Sunday night at 11:45 and it was too late and I didn't get credit. I'm not going to change your attendance for that, but if there is some form of question or explanation that you want to give to me, then of course you can email me and let me know. I always appreciate it when students say, oh, I didn't watch the lecture on time last week and I didn't do my homework, I apologize. And that's That's a polite thing to do, but don't expect, deadlines to be pushed without proper reasons, okay? I give plenty of time for all assignments. Usually when I assign papers, you have 2 weeks to hand them in. So really, you can't say that on the last day something happened, because you have 2 weeks to get it ready. So again, if you have a legitimate reason, you need to let me know at the time what that reason is. And if you don't, then you don't need to tell me, but if you email me and let me know what happened, of course, I appreciate you being honest, but don't expect any change in the grade or the attendance because of that. And that's basically all the housekeeping, I think, for our first class. So you need to watch this lecture. I will extend the time for this lecture until next Friday in order to allow our Monday section to get a chance to watch this lecture too, just in case they're not expecting, because we did have a holiday on March 1st. You need to get your textbook, because next week we will start to use it and I will be referring to it, and then the following week there will be homework from the textbook as well. Otherwise, that's it for the first week. Welcome to Chungnam National University, freshmen. It's great to have a new batch of students. I'm excited to talk to you. As I said, we will have a sort of Zoom information session, but that will be extra. We're just gonna go through the lectures, and it's confusing, especially to new students, to go back and forth between recorded lectures and Zoom lectures. So once we get going, I'm going to schedule a Zoom lecture for both classes individually, and I would just like to talk to you, screen to screen, since we can't talk face to face. But we'll do that maybe 3 weeks into the class, just so you can actually see that I'm a real person, not a robot, and that I can see that you exist as well, not just on the other side of the YouTube universe. Okay, so that's it. Thank you for listening to the first lecture, and welcome to Chungnam. See you again next week. Same place, same channel. Have a good day.